Oh my goodness, what a day. We're really gonna have to chop these up, I guess. I'm gonna talk to Curtis. 6 hours. It took us 6 hours on a beautiful day to drone all 70 horses, 70 whatever horses. And it's a long time for you to watch, a long time for us to do. I don't know if it's better to try and chop it up into 2 days or just get it over with. I'm now left thinking that maybe even the Mother's Day open house should be like an open house weekend where, you know, we can have some people, have some horses training on Saturday and then have the main event on Sunday. I don't know. I have to talk to Kelly and Curtis. I mean, it's getting pretty tight to be making changes structurally like that. So I don't really know what we're going to do. But 6 hours is a long time. I mean, I have no problem with it, but I know our grooms and even riders are exhausted right now. There were still people putting away horses when I left a little while ago. Obviously, that goes without saying, the dedication of our crew. But man, oh man, what a long day. We had some horses jump up, as I expected. Some horses looked tremendous, as I expected. The horse I told you to watch for didn't show up as good today as I thought she would. I'll mention her. I could lie to you and tell you it was a horse like Sebastian Yu. How good did he look today? Where'd that come from? Sebastian Yu felt like he could have run around about 14 times. He could have went around till 4:30 in the afternoon and they wouldn't have caught him. He was very strong. Some other notable horses. What I did do, I did make a top 10 list. Now this is a top 10 list for today. Top 10 list of horses I thought caught my eye today. Obviously, Knockdown Dragout's going to be on that list. A horse that I thought was very good today. A couple of them were very good. A couple of them surprised me. I'm going to mention 4 notable horses that are on the move. Obviously on the move. Some of them really, really surprised me. One finally started doing what I thought he should be doing all along. It only took a little to fix that. So we'll get right into it. As I said, today was a difficult day for some horses. It's the first transition. You have to understand, everybody says, oh, the corks are off, they'll be great. You got to understand, they're training on a hard track, an icy track, snowy track, with corks on all winter. Then you take all that grab off, all that cork off, and dig the track up. So it's nice and loose and soft and had a great cushion on it today. Felt like a July training session today. But it was quite a transition for some horses. And you could see that. Some of them were very, very tired. Horse that really looked tired today, I probably had a lot to do with that a couple of days ago training him, was Time Al Kazam. I'll be the first to admit, he looked exhausted today. He went a decent mile. Danny came with him. I saw Danny picking at him when he came, and I said, that's not going to work. And Time Al Kazam was tired. But he got shod yesterday, had all the cork removed, trained 2 days ago. I don't want to get into making excuses for him. He needs to do better. He needs to do better. But I thought he trained fantastic last time I went with him. I watched John Downey go with him the other day. He looked tremendous again. A little disappointed today, but there were a couple of sick horses today. We had one late scratch in enduring strength. He had a temperature of 102.8. Couldn't train him. Then we had a couple horses we scoped after because they made a little noise. One was perfectly fine. The other one was not, and I'll get into that in a minute also. But not all right, I mean there was an abundance of mucus, an inflamed throat, and actually a couple of trickles of blood. We'll get to that horse in a few minutes. Pretty astonishing mile from that horse, considering what the throat, the trachea looked like. So we'll get right into it. I'm going to give you 8 horses that are now on my list. I want to start going with them the next few weeks, get them straightened out. I didn't like what I saw today. Either they were tired or they were running in. They just weren't doing their work right, and I'll be focusing on them for the next few weeks. Before you get too concerned, there's a lot of horses I always focus on. Johan looked tremendous today. There's a horse I go with all the time, virtually. And there's a number of horses that I go with all the time. That doesn't mean there's an issue. I will preface this with saying, on this list of 8, I don't think there's an issue with any of them. Maybe one. But out of the 8, really just trying to get them settled and straightened away and on the proper path, because these 8 did not impress me today for various reasons. I don't want to get to the bottom of it. Nothing to be concerned with them. I had 21 horses on a list I thought were good today. I narrowed that down to 10 to talk about. And then I will also want to talk about, I'll start talking from the top, about some notable, some things of note. some things of note. We'll start with the horse I was talking about earlier with the tons of mucus and redness and some blood, Capistrano. How good is this filly? This filly is actually 90 days behind everybody else. She trained like a bearcat today, come off the track, tons of mucus in her throat, little bit of pimples and some blood. I'm stopping with her. She's getting 2 weeks in the field, 2 weeks of jogging. She's going to miss another month. I'm not in any rush. This filly clearly has an abundance of talent, and I want to see it come out. We're not rushing her. There's nothing to rush for. She's got the world in front of her. She's got an entire summer of stake races, some Grand Circuit stuff we paid her into late in the summer, early fall. Capistrano's got my full attention now, and we're going to take good care of her. She's obviously struggling to get over something. She was sick when I moved her down to Harry's. I pushed on and trained her a little bit. She just had mucus. She didn't have any temperature or whatnot, but she was a little sick. Now we're dealing with it. It's going to be dealt with properly. As I said, Capistrano has my full attention moving forward. She's going to get 2 weeks off. 2 weeks in the field, 2 weeks of light jogging, and then we will get her back in the swing of things. Now the obvious question is, with her behind, is this a problem? Yes, but no. Yes, in the fact that she's not going to be ready June 15th, but I don't want any of our Ontario breds ready June 15th. Will she be ready July 1st? I don't know. We'll see. But I can tell you this. Clearly, from what I saw today on the track and then what I saw and talked to at the vet later on with Harry, this filly's legit. She's a nice filly, and I am absolutely... Listen, phone, don't start. I'm absolutely going to do everything I can to ensure that we have the very best form of cat. We don't want any more of this, middle of the summer sickness, bleeding crap that we went through last year with Sunshine Inn and Linnea and the likes of those horses. No more of that. We vowed to take a very close look and take very good care of these horses this year. We changed our regimen as far as vaccinating, and obviously, a big deal. One, this filly, and two, how we treat this moving forward. 2 weeks in the field, 2 weeks of light jogging, back in the training. Capistrano, she was unbelievable. Today alone, I could talk for 10 minutes about Capistrano before she got scoped. After seeing that scope, man, oh man, this filly is, she possesses some serious power. So, that's Capistrano. That's the news there. Excellent Nation. I'm pulling the trigger. He's going to be gelded. This is an extremely fast colt. Danny was itching to get out in the last turn. I moved over, let him out. He come roaring up alongside... listen, phone, you're really looking for it today. He come roaring up alongside Beach Bum BB, and then it looked to me like he hung out. Danny tried to tell me that, no, he just wanted to finish together, but then I watched him kind of waltz through the turn afterwards. That horse there has got some serious talent also, and I'm not going to waste it on a big set of testicles. So, Excellent Nation will be castrated tomorrow. I'll Play It Alone was castrated the other day. This was a horse that was a ridgeling. He went a really fast 1.5 miles the day before we sent him up to get castrated. No problems with the procedure. They said there was one testicle kind of lodged in a bad place up in his abdomen. So he's all fixed up now, and he started back jogging today. He'll be in the next training session we do. So Excellent Nation if we get him done tomorrow. A horse that I thought was a little flat today, and it turned out that she just was running in a little bit, and I don't know if Danny really pushed her, was Just For Me and You. This is a filly that James still touts as the best filly we have. I won't certify that, but she's clearly one of the more talented fillies, and just kind of went around today. A little bit flat. There was the horse right across from her that was a little bit sick, and tiny sickness is going around. You look at Capistrano, you look at Enduring Strength, a couple other ones. I would allude to the fact that they were probably a little bit sick today, but everybody was eating their lunch when I left, so I'm not that worried. Muscle Chrome. Here's a filly that tries her heart out, looks really good, but her knees are killing her. So we're going to do what we can to help her out. We've had them looked at before. I think we're going to put some polyglycan in there, which should help the joints. Truthfully speaking, we'll see what happens. Usually with polyglycan with babies, it is good for their knees, but their knees are hurting. That is a problem. So we'll put the polyglycan in this week, and then 3 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, and then we'll reassess. She needs some time throughout the summer. I'm happy to give it to her. Again, here's the problem. I said we are going to change the way we keep or turn out our horses this summer. If they don't look like they're good enough, we're going to move them along. Whoever they may be, whatever they may be. Now, a horse like this, she actually does have a little maturity issue with her knees. I think it's a little unfair to just say, oh, dump her. That's not very fair. At this point, I want to put the polyglycan in her knees, allow her time to grow up, just light jogging. She may miss the next droning session again, but she's got tons of work into her. I know one thing, what I saw today was a filly determined to do her work. Very, very good work ethic, and we are going to work on muscle chrome. I don't have any concerns of yet. You know, if she was really, really hurting, she wouldn't be putting out like that. It's just impossible. She was trying her heart out. I know James cleared to the front, was gone, and I was trotting hard behind him in one of the later sets. I looked behind me, and Muscle Chrome was trotting out of her skin, and so was Bend Over after he made a little break. Mario said he gets shied away. Mario's told me 3 times now he shied away from something and made a break. Well, stop putting him in a position to shy away from something, then Bend Over. You know what? He's going on my list, too, because I want to see what's up with Bend Over. Bend Over there. Now you got a list of 9 horses that are coming to see Daddy over the next week and a half. So, Muscle Chrome, yeah, we're just going to work on her knees and keep going. I think it's pretty obvious that she's not 100%. She's working through something. This is the time of year when we have to take note of that. We did it in the winter. We backed off with her. She come back good. We're now gonna treat her and work with her and back off with her again and see if we can get her to come forward. We know there's a problem there. Listen, these are problems that I don't want to keep name dropping horses, so I'm not going to do it. But these are legitimate, real problems that come up with some horses. But as a horseman, you have to recognize that and say, you know, don't blow through the stop signs. Just back to basics. So we're going to work on her knees. There's nothing troubling. There's no heat. There's no huge swelling. There's nothing like that. I would say, much like when we did X-ray her back in the wintertime, you're going to see some third carpal, what would you call it? Density changes. They're reactive. So that third bone, the third bone in her knee, the third carpal bone, that's where all horses have issues. When they have knee issues, it's always in that bone. So it's just a matter of understanding that there is an issue there. I don't know why this is doing this today so bad. Understanding there is an issue there and treating it. So that's where Muscle Chrome is. She trained a mile and 25 today. That's as fast as any horse in Ontario. So I'm not really concerned with her falling behind as much as making sure she gets there on her best foot, on her best hoof, so to speak. Trafalgar. I told Harry, I said, you know, that filly has been good. Cut her loose today. He went a mile and 27 and then thought the training trip was over. We're always going mile and a halves. Capistrano and Trafalgar are down in Harry's barn now because we had horses leave. Those are Ontario breds we plan on keeping with Harry, so I just moved them down to Harry's. So he pulled up and he yelled at me. He says, why didn't you tell me we were going a mile and a half? Listen, phone, enough. I said, well, just so you know, I can get you a t-shirt made up if you want. It's a mile and a half from here on in every training day, right up into qualifying day. So he went a mile with Trafalgar, who looked fantastic. I was back a bit. I forget who I had, but I was back a bit. And you could see as they come by him in the last turn after his mile, he just let them saunter by him and then realized what was going on, went to put her in gear. And no, she was having none of that. I don't blame her. But Trafalgar looked tremendous today for a mile and 27, and I was very, very happy with her. Felt a little embarrassed for Harry, and he was pissed off, but what are you going to do? It's just the way it is. You got to pay attention in this world. So Trafalgar had a good training trip under a mile today, and then got to jog, I guess, for half a mile. Watch Avenue made a couple of breaks today. This is a colt just coming back off castration, and we had bought some new hobbles for him. And I believe the ones that we have on him right now either stretched or just too long for him. I had made reference to it when he made the second break. I looked down. I said, there's no possible way this horse can pace with these hobbles on. So we're going to pull his hobbles in, let him stretch into them. He was just castrated the other day. Can't really blame the horse for making a couple little breaks, but clearly looks good. I think you're going to see a really nice horse emerge from Watch Avenue's shell here over the next few months. Wiggle Delight. I had made reference to maybe... early on, the worst trip of the day. I can tell you the 3 worst drives of the day. Anthony with Fusspot. I was in the 2-hole. She felt like she was getting a little... stop. Jesus. She felt like she was getting a little drawn out, and I moved her over and asked her for too much, and she just backed up a little bit. But she's had a pretty heavy load all week. I've been working her pretty hard. She was just tired today. She was tired in that deeper track at 1.5 miles. She was tired. And I should have known better. I moved her out and got in James's way with Wiggle Delight. Then we had Ricky with Cheatin' Dixie. He had the epiphany of moving back to the front and run in front of me, interfered with me, and almost interfered with 2 people at once. So Cheatin' Dixie, and then Disco. Disco always has to be in the mix. Disco with Classy Will. I said this last week. I said Classy Will, we're going to have to put a complaint box up, and Classy Will be the first one to fill out a form saying, I've been on the front or first over every week. I've trained forever. Can I maybe just sit in for 1 week? So I told Disco after, Mark, he's a great guy. If I had said, listen, Disco, I need you to jog 35 horses today, he would. Great guy, hard worker. I told him, listen, no more moving Classy Will. In fact, I may just go with Classy Will myself or James next week. Classy Will got a bad trip, but I gave Wiggle Delight. I screwed up Wiggle Delight and gave Fusspot a piss poor mile of my own. And then I had talked about all week I was going to unveil this huge mile this horse was going to go. Susie K was the name of the filly. She trained and beat up a bunch of pacers the other day on kind of an ad-lib training session. We were all on the track. I was going a mile and a bunch of pacers turned with me, and she laid a beating on all of them and looked fantastic. But the track was kind of hard that day. Little deep today. She got brushing at one knee. She trotted good. Ricky interfered with me, and then she trotted last half an 8. I thought she looked really good, but I did kind of expect more. I could have lied and told you it was Sebastian Yu. You'd never know the difference because nobody looked as good as he did today, I don't think, or it looked better, especially considering from where he came, virtual obscurity, and even Susie K. She looked great today. You know, again, this was a horse near the bottom rung of horses and went out there. She showed how tough she was today. She was striking her knee a little bit, at a gear, running in, all things that we can fix, but showed some true tenacity in training well. So those are the notable horses. Those are things notable to talk about. I'm actually going to come back in a minute. I'm going to tell you all about my top 10 list for today. Horses impressed the hell out of me. And then, you know what? I'm going to hook onto the bottom of it right now. This list right here, most notables. I'm going to talk also about horses that are on my list. Now, Miss Mischief Maker's back looks awesome. Jogged today, looked great, jogged the last 3 days. She'll be, it's supposed to rain Saturday, so she won't train Saturday. But she'll be training next week and back in the next drone session for sure. Spend that money, made a break on James today. That annoys me, that whole thing. Anyway, when the screen gets all blurry. Spend that money, made a break today. Just got to hang her up differently. It's right there, I can see her. She looks like $1 million, but puts a step in and rolls off. Can't have that. Getting this filly under control right now. And Time Al-Kazam, he looked like a little fat kid trying out for basketball practice today. That is going to have to be rectified. Still got to shed some weight from the bugger, but he's starting to look really, really good. We can't train him too hard. Obviously, that's a big, massive colt. I don't want him to hurt himself. But today, I think he's got ag bars on up front. They got to go. Few little changes. He trained great last week on a hard track. He trained great in the mud when they were all kind of working hard in the mud. And now today he looked a little out of sorts. So we're going to get him back on the straight and narrow. Here's a big colt that doesn't wear a head pole, doesn't really wear a knee or a boot or anything. Just a nice big horse. I think people's expectations of what this colt can possibly do this time of year are a little high. And he's doing lots. Obviously, I wasn't super thrilled with what I saw today, but I was very thrilled with what I saw the last 2 training sessions. So we'll get Time Al-Kazam back on the straight and narrow. They're telling me that Cabernet is a little lazy right now. Now, today she jumped over a shadow, and Danny was worried about her jumping over a bunch of other shit and just kind of let her saunter around. I wouldn't have done that, and she's not going to... These horses are working this week. She's working tomorrow. Cabernet is going to be going a mile before I go over to the qualifiers tomorrow with me. You know, here's a filly with a very bright future and a lot of talent. She is going to use it. And this jumping over stuff or being lazy, that's not going to cut it. And I know James was really high on her a few times he went with her. We're going to get her back on solid ground this week. Canadian Titan almost maybe doesn't need to be on this list. I didn't really get a chance to look at her. I want to look at the video again. I thought this might have been a filly that made a little break. You know, this is a filly we've been kind of burying her up and never really gave her a chance to shake loose and strut her stuff. And I think this is something... Oh my God, that's annoying. I think this is something that... maybe she's due. She's due to maybe open her up a little bit. Maybe this is a Saturday job for Anthony. But it's supposed to pour on Saturday and on Friday. Maybe a Monday job. Might be a Monday job for Anthony. Me being Anthony. Canadian Titan, no complaints really. Just want to see what this filly's made of. So she didn't really need to be on this list, but she is. Classic Con. I know we had changed from flip-flops to egg bars. I'm just going to put a set of trotting shoes on them, and if need be, a set of trotting hobbles right behind them. This colt's got tons of talent. There's no need in being at the back and making breaks. That's a bunch of crap. So we're going to make a little shoe and change on him probably tomorrow. Put the trotting hobbles on him. Put a head Paul and Murphy on the inside of him. I see him running in all the time. We'll get this guy straightened around. That won't be a problem at all. I really don't foresee that being a problem. If there's anybody, I know one person said, you know, I know how to fix this. I got to go back and look. That is, I'm telling you what, phone, you're looking for a real beating now. Crazy Mission. Crazy Mission made a break today. He's kind of regressed a little bit. He's the only horse in this list that is in trouble. If he keeps it up, he might be on that May list to head for the sale. I think I like this colt. I think he could have a bright future, but he's got to put forth the effort, and I did not see that effort today. I saw a horse make a break that shouldn't have. I will try and get him on the straight and narrow over the next few days, and I will keep you informed on my progress with Crazy Mission. Rose Run Valiant looked good again today. Mary said he's on the left line, but looks to me like he's trotting better. So that's good. We just had him castrated. They said one of his testicles was twisted. He's going to be training a little harder this week, too. Want to get to the bottom of him. It's about time we got him in the straight and narrow. I've been threatening to for a couple of months. This guy was just brought here long before a lot of the other ones. So we'll get him straightened away this week. And Bendover, I threw him on the list a minute ago just because I want to know what Bendover can do. Bendover, I know he can go fast. I know he's a decent horse. I don't think he's amongst our elite, so to speak. But he's a decent horse, and I want to see where his future lies also. So I'll be going with him this week. So there you have it, a little opening monologue with some notable things to talk about, and then some horses that might have made the Dean's list. Not a big deal. As I said, you know the horses I'm talking about. There's very few horses in our midst on this list that are in jeopardy, but there are a couple, and we're going to deal with them in the coming weeks and months. And that's that. So I'll be right back. I'm going to run through my top 10 list, and then I'm going to run through everybody, every single horse that went on the track today. I'll be right back.